In February 2021, there was a 15% drop in the number of homes sold in Travis County, but a 27% increase in the average sales price. And the length of time it took to sell the houses dropped by 75%. What does all this mean? Number one, houses in Austin are selling faster and for more money than they ever have before. And number two, there are way more buyers than there are available homes for sale. Now, a market like this produces all kinds of theories about what might be coming next. And what you accept as true is going to determine whether or not you're successful in actually buying a house in Austin in the next several months. Stick around for this video, and I'll dispel 5 of the biggest myths about the current housing market. Myth number 1. The reason for the housing shortage in Austin is all the people moving here. Now, this myth assumes that what we're seeing in Austin is isolated to this part of the country. But according to Realtor.com, this is a national issue. Every region of the country is seeing double-digit decreases in new listings and active listings. And because of the lack of available homes, median prices are going up. Austin made the news recently because the percentage decrease in active listing was the highest in the nation. But the percentage decrease in new listings was not nearly as high as several other U.S. metro areas. Now, this doesn't change what's actually happening in Austin, but it does provide a bit of perspective. When you realize that anyone who wants to buy a house, virtually anywhere in the United States, is confronted with the same issues: multiple offers, buyer concessions, and bids over list price. You might begin to rethink your theories about what would need to happen for the market to return to anything resembling normal, and how long it would actually take for that to happen. Myth number 2. Out-of-state buyers are driving prices up and making housing unaffordable. Now, this myth is in 2 parts, and the first part has been around for a while. Austin has had the highest percentage population growth of any major metro in the United States for 10 years. And the myth is that the majority of the people that are moving here are from out of state, specifically from California. When you break down the census information, you can see that the biggest increase in population is coming from domestic migration. And the biggest percentage of that domestic migration is coming from other cities in Texas, specifically Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. Now, the other half of this myth really has nothing to do with where the growth is coming from, because the cost of housing is based on supply and demand. If the number of people moving to an area goes up and the number of houses available goes down, you can expect prices are going to go up. Now, the good news is that Texas has a lot of undeveloped land. And the further out you go from the Austin metro, the lower the price points. And the current low interest rates give everybody more buying power. Myth number 3. Don't buy a house now because we are due for a market correction. Now, this one is a byproduct of short-term memory. If the only recession you can remember, or the only one you're taking into account, is the one that happened in 2008, let me remind you that that was a once-in-a-generation economic event. In fact, in 3 of the last 5 recessions, home values have increased. We entered a recession in February 2020 because of the pandemic, and the housing market took off like a rocket ship. Now, if you think that after the vaccines are widely distributed and the economy truly opens up again, that the end result is going to be an economic downturn, I would have to question how you think something like that would be possible. Myth number 4. The foreclosure moratorium will end soon, and this will drive prices lower. Now, this one requires just a little bit of common sense. In 2008, there were a lot of foreclosures because buyers were underwater. They owed more than their house was worth. So, if they fell behind on their payments, it made sense to let the bank foreclose. In 2020, there have been a lot of buyers who have fallen behind on their payments and have entered forbearance. But at the same time that's happening, home values are increasing. I mean, think about it. If someone has $100,000 in equity and they're 6 months behind on their payment, they have a lot more options than simply foreclosing. Worst case scenario is they can sell the house and pay everybody off. Myth number 5. There will be more houses listed in the spring, and that will drive prices lower. Now, there is an element of truth to this because the springtime usually does bring more listings and more buyer activity. And if you added that there probably have been a lot of potential sellers who have put off listing their house because of the concerns about having people come into their homes during this pandemic. So let's say both of those things happen, and you do see an increase in the number of houses that are listed for sale in the spring. If you think that that by itself is going to be enough to drive prices lower, You really need to evaluate how many new listings it would take to make that happen. The magic number is 6 months of available inventory. That is a balanced market. In the entire Austin Round Rock metropolitan area, there are anywhere between 2,500 and 3,500 closed transactions every month, depending upon seasonality. If you average that out to 3,000, you would need 6 times that, or 18,000 listings to get to a balanced market. And currently, we have less than 2,000. So you're talking about adding 16,000 new listings to move into a balanced market. If we've been averaging 2,000 to 4,000 new listings every month for over the last several years, what's the likelihood of that quadrupling? Now the good news is there probably will be an increase in listings. But even if that doubles or triples, which is highly unlikely, but even if it did, that would have virtually no impact on reducing prices. Well, I hope this is helpful. You know, I get emails, texts, and phone calls almost every day from people who are thinking about buying or selling real estate here in the Austin area, and I would love to help you out too. If you like my videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. All of my contact information is in the video description, so don't be shy. Let's make your real estate dreams come true.